Ooh.
Skynet.
How dare you?
Yes! It came up this time. Every time DJ said it, it hasn't come up.
Skynet.
It's because DJ isn't real.
There it is.
There you go.
50 Shades...
50 Shades Fried.
Oh, no!
Wait, did that say 50 Shades Free?
We gotta go! That's not...
I like the second time that you said it, you didn't even say freed, and it went ahead and gave it to us.
It knows.
It understands. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another evening of D&D. We are Not Great RPG, and we are here once again for the City of Oshuamp, in which I'm very sorry for what's about to occur because it's entirely my fault.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go around the table real quick, introduce ourselves, and then we'll have a brief recap, and then maybe die.
Mm-hmm.
So always, I'm Don, and this week I play Ethir Revia, the Grave Domain Cleric Boy.
Still not Lawrence. And I still play Lumla.
I'm Paul, and I play the wettest boy, Felix.
How wet is he?
It's about to be much more wet.
Wet.
So wet.
I'm 50 Shades of Glenn, and I'll be playing
No!
We got a wet one and a good one.
He's got to be even more wet.
Well, guys, this was fun.
Sorry, Sarah.
I'm just plain old Sarah, and I play Ritora.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm Nesgrim. I'm DJ, and I play Nesgrim.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you usually do it the other way?
I do. I mixed it up on you.
I'm confused.
But which one of him does?
He's trying to keep it spicy,
Yeah,
though.
true.
Gotta keep it spicy.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about who's in the
Keep it
driver's seat
spicy or
today.
not eating.
It's true.
Oh.
No one's driving.
Nobody's ever driving.
2 passengers.
And I'm John, the Dungeon Master for Oshuamp. Last week we
Dark Rider.
concluded our wonderful combat with the Slithering Stalker as it attempted to, after reforming, strangle Ritora in her bear form. Unable to do so, we eventually defeated the Slithering Stalker, made our way through some more areas inside of the first level, here on the lower regions of Belfarthen, exploring through a cistern, finding a storage room, some stables, taking a short rest, and then making our way down to a lower level, finding eventually the ramp that descended after Balor returned when the Moon-Touch sword was re-imbued with its moonlight after the hour-long reduction, one could say, from the Behir.
Reduce.
I did have to reduce the light in the area for the Behir. We followed and talked about Balor a little bit more. Went down the ramp, eventually finding a beautiful feast in the market district, down on the level below. Ethir, thankfully resisting the initial suggestion by Balor that requested that he bring him all the silver that he can. But Vorst, our good boy, was sadly not so lucky as we descended down on the level below, succumbing to the suggestion of being told to eat your fill and then come drink with me. We entered into the market district, found
You say no.
Yeah, right? Found a beautiful laid-out feast atop a large stage inside the close proximate right side wall. Wow, we climbed that shit, and the big, juicy apples that Vorst and Rearda, Vorst successfully biting into, eventually being revealed as the terrifying, I'm so sorry, Dom, trick of a barrel of spiders. Vorst having already bitten into one, Ritora as a bear, pushing the barrel over, successfully identifying, after her investigation, that the barrel of apples and the other food on the table were, in fact, stationary spiders laying here in wait.
That's what happens if Cinnamon Toast Crunch makes apples. They send you a barrel of apples, you get spiders in it.
What?
The shrimp. The
The
shrimp.
shrimp tails. They
Yeah, I
sound
know, but...
But spiders.
But spiders, sure.
You didn't follow that?
Sure. Okay.
What's the internet?
Right. Yeah, and then as we stood here in the terrifying revelation of the hallucinatory terrain that was finally concluded, as these spiders fled away and the wood obviously became significantly more moldy and desiccated, in a position of rot, still intact, Yeah, we looked around and saw some spider larval sacs around the edges of the boxes that were here, indicating that this is definitively some kind of lair. Wonderful, wonderful lair. And then Ethir looked up and saw amidst the darkness above what looked like thin gossamer threads in some sort of pattern that I indicated
Nobody could prove it.
that he traced
There's video evidence.
in its entirety. Yes! And then, amidst the darkness, outside of the stretches of what was your bright light, out of the darkness and through the dim light, began to descend what looked like a horrifying torrential pool of black acidy rain, just caustic sizzling out from the darkness. And since I did indicate that this was a very large rune, and we are all in here, we're all in here. I will ask Don, would you like to be first or last?
I'll be first.
No, Don.
Oh, no.
I'm attacking you.
Oh, boy.
Don, what's your spellcasting modifier for your plus to hit? Is it in fact 7?
It is.
Scum Lord.
What does this, what?
Fuck.
What does this mean?
No!
That's a nat one, isn't it?
No! I guess since you're the first to see it, you are the most aware of the dumb fucking thing you just did. God damn it! For what I wanted to hurt. Oh my god. Well, no! I'm sorry, Lawrence. You're next, buddy. Why? Fuck you! We're switching.
I was also looking.
I'm sorry, Paul.
Give all damage to bear.
What the fuck? I rolled a 1, a 2, and a 3.
Counting is fun.
Come on, just do it.
4.
Fuck! 4! Oh my god, what is happening?
This is how you know we
We
don't
might
fudge
die.
our rolls, because he would never.
You gotta
Fucking god damn it. Alright, Sarah.
Give to bear.
I feel better. Yeah, 22's gonna absolutely catch you.
Probably.
He's got a lot more surface area as the bear.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
2 damage.
These are the worst rolls.
Now's our chance.
Fucking 6. 6 acid damage.
I'm still
DJ,
very
say the
much
line.
a bear.
You are still a bear, and at the beginning of your next turn, you will take another 6 acid damage.
The
Am
only
I
one.
waiting to do that?
You can just take
I'll
it
just
now
take it
because
now.
it's going to be an
Yeah.
immediate thing, like, since we're not in an initiative tracking order. DJ. Why? I rolled another 3.
Just bear.
Just the bear. Just the bear.
There are no consequences for my actions.
I will find you.
I think it's hubris time.
No, I won't go so far as to say that. I don't want to die.
You've unleashed the river, Don.
I already did.
I know.
Years ago.
Oh my god. Alright, so yeah, Sarah, just you somehow, for fuck's sake.
Did
On
any
a
of the fleeing spiders happen to catch any of this acid rain?
Yeah, no, they're all dead. I'm so mad.
You've been rewarded.
I'm so
I
mad.
needed to kill something.
Yes.
I did have to kill the spiders.
That absolutely the immobilized larval sacs on the +7 to hit from you. You watch as this cascading torrent, as you trace the runes, well, the rune,
Yeah.
as you watch as your hand is extended outwards, you see that from your hand, as this web begins to vibrate and the shadowy rain begins to cascade down, you feel a strange sensation in your body as you trace the runes. So when you cast magic and you have the familiarity of, as I have previously indicated, something inside of you is what is correlating and kind of reverberating with something that exists in the world. You feel a horrid, unfamiliar sense of attachment to whatever it is you just connected yourself to and utilized to accidentally produce an effect outside of your intention or understanding. A spell that you don't even know what this is or what it has done. And when you feel this severance between you and this spiritual linking between this thread, you watch as the thread just darkens and disappears amidst the shadowing darkness that extends down and rains towards you. And you and Yalamo together just, oh God! Really shuck and jive and wiggle your way through this rain. I'm going to say that everybody else just except for the bear, because, pushing over a barrel of spiders recently, is still oh my God, spiders everywhere. You feel not just this caustic essence that strikes and sizzles against your fur. You feel, without taking damage, you feel an intense chill and a familiarity for what happens for you when something takes control of your form. As though there is some kind of, not comfort, but just definitive association in the context of how this magic is and how this magic is. And it burns as it strikes your fur, and the caustic energy dissolves against your skin, and that is where the subsequent damage takes as the acidic areas burst in bubbles and patches of fur on your back and shoulder and the top of your head just kind of sizzle and disappear, and these horrid small splotches that remain look like if you were to envision how a burn victim's flesh would have separated and then in the course of being rehealed forms with the bubbling all over your body.
Good.
I'm gonna run.
Yeah.
Is it still happening, or is it a one?
It is a one-time
okay.
washing down effect. I will tell you that the thread that existed in the darkness, as this shadowy rain dissipates and concludes, you see nothing in the dark any longer. No thread. You guys are standing here.
I hate to be this guy, but does he need to roll burnout for that?
No.
Okay. I need to know, because if this sort of thing's in the area, it could come up again.
What happened? What? Why?
Sorry.
Maybe don't.
Yes.
Kind of like reading. Less action.
I'm just gonna glare at you.
I am sorry. There was a rune on the ceiling. I was tracing it to show Felix, and the acid fell. Now it is gone.
Okay.
It's a learning curve with magic.
Am I still hungry?
No.
No?
You have eaten.
I have eaten.
You have eaten, and you now recognize, because of another individual, also again, the acidic rain that would have killed them, the experience of watching what would have initially to you looked like apples bursting would have rendered apple flesh to the side and seeds and cores that you would now recognize as they fizzle and burn away in the caustic pools. As they are destroyed, that would break the illusory form, and you would see the, scattered remains of what would look like hundreds of smaller spiders.
Right.
Yeah, Sarah.
I hate to do this.
Yeah,
Did Rearda roll?
you're right. Slap. 4! floor! What is happening?
Damn it! Thank you for the $50 donation. Thank you very much.
Thank you!
Sorry, $50.01. Thank you so much. That's incredibly generous of you. Thank you.
We're invincible. Let's chase the spiders.
Reward us for
all of them are dead?
Yes.
Even the ones that were fleeing?
Yes.
Oh,
it was
damn.
the entirety of the room.
Oh, okay.
Somehow it miraculously didn't hit us.
Yeah, right? I just immediately wiped my own enemies from the room.
Are there like puddles on the floor or anything, or did it eat through the floor?
No, there would be puddles on the floor because the floor is stone. You would see that it is beginning to dissolve and effectively discorporeate to where it is no longer residually remaining.
Sure.
As a conjuration spell, it does not remain.
Okay. Well, that was...
I'm gonna break the grapple that Nesgrim has on me.
I'll just let go.
Yeah. You begin to, fight against it, and you realize.
I'd let go. You see why I stopped you from eating them now?
Yes.
Okay, good.
You feeling any better?
I'm not hungry anymore.
Oh, well, you
Well,
got
that's
your
good.
fill of spider, so I'm not surprised.
You might want to...
Yeah.
I think you have a leg stuck in your teeth. No, you got it. Good job. Well, onward, I suppose.
I'm gonna go inspect Ritora's back.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Look at that bear back.
Yeah.
Yeah, in her presence, you would see the areas in which you would have still been bipedal, having pushed the barrel over recently.
I think it's safe. Yeah.
Pretty consistently,
Yeah.
other than when you were giving.
I think more often probably quadrupedal.
Okay.
Just because bears aren't really meant to walk on
Sure.
two legs. They're able to, but it's not like.
I will only picture you on a unicycle from this
I was
point
gonna say
forward.
we need to get her a big ball to roll down the hallway on.
Yes.
Yeah, I will say that as you are looking at the areas on the splotches of areas in which the fur has immediately dissolved and been permanently removed, at least obviously while you're in this shape right now, you can see the caustic signs of scarring of somebody struck with a volatile substance.
Does she appear to be bleeding in any shape or fashion from these wounds?
Are you bloody?
No.
Okay, then no. She would
Okay.
look like there would be areas in which, I feel like you as a tattoo artist would know that when you make the initial punctures and stuff and you get the small dottings, you would see that in some of the areas in which there are dips and curvatures inside the caustic marks on her skin.
Yeah. I'm gonna remove. Yeah, I'm gonna take I have one of the bar rags in my inventory. I'm gonna go ahead and blot her back off,
Sure.
just to make sure there's not more on there.
Very good. Yeah, I will say that as you're doing that, Sarah, please make a wisdom throw.
It's probably pretty good.
Whiz kid.
24.
24? Yeah. You have the sensation once more as Vorst is patting your back. So in the area in which the marking exists in your palm, there is that perpetual chill, that absence of feeling. You feel that in the spots on your body. And you feel it as though it is sinking into your skin.
I'm gonna drop my wild shape.
Sure. Yeah. You're still in your clothing. Your clothing is undamaged.
Gonna touch the spots where the.
Yeah, you feel the spots, and the spots feel normal.
Ritora, I am very sorry.
Please be careful tracing things on the ceiling.
Or anywhere.
Yes.
We should search this area now that the illusion is gone. And then we should keep moving.
Yes,
I don't imagine we will find everything we need here.
I agree. Some of these shop carts might hold some of the things we're looking for.
whatever just fell from the ceiling felt a lot like this.
Like this?
Felt like hand.
Oh, but that hand. Okay.
Oh.
Sure.
But your clothing is undamaged.
Seems to be gone now.
Good.
I'm assuming if I like move like my collar, are there any like marks on my shoulders or anything where
No markings at all.
I think I was lucky?
Yes, let's refrain from drawing things in the future.
Yes.
Saying them.
Did you get a good look at what it looked like before you did that?
Yes, I could describe it to Felix. Or...
Yes, Felix, please draw it.
If you describe it to me, I'll draw it. Sure.
Don't
I will.
Break lines.
don't draw it.
Would I be familiar with a sand timer hourglass?
Like an hourglass? Yeah, absolutely.
It looked like two.
Don't trace it.
Hourglasses.
Don't draw it. Just write down what he's saying.
I can't draw hourglasses. Shit.
Two triangles.
It's a triangle.
Well, yeah, but
Two
Or
triangles.
two triangles upside down next to each other, and then on the opposite side,
oh,
two more triangles with a space near the bottom.
that's not really how I drew it. Okay. Wait, is this? It's literally this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So not that.
You all are standing here in the area right at the edge of the stage at the lower regions of the market district. On the western wall, so the eastern wall, which is the one where you guys entered. This is the area in which the stage was, kind of like a precipice. On the western wall, you can see that there are a litany of small, what would look like single-room shops. Dark. They are about, because of how sizable this room is, about 70-ish feet to the left from you guys, adorning the opposite wall.
Are these shops where all the food was that we saw?
No. The food that you guys saw was on the stage on the eastern
Okay.
wall. Mm-hmm.
So that was like
Mm-hmm.
like a fair.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Is this the market then?
I think so.
Would seem so.
We should probably take a look around,
Yes.
perhaps in groups of 3 or groups of 2 plus one group of 3 with Rhoda.
So that way we can save the lights too.
Yes.
I'm going to be a bit more careful from now on, having my other sword out.
Yes.
Sure.
I would stay close still. If there are shops next to each other, I think we could safely split into 2 different shops, but
Yeah. Stay within earshot.
yes.
Sure.
Keep an eye out for any more traps or tricks or anything like that.
Yes.
The thing that's bothering me is this is a market. Why was that here?
I'm not sure. It may have been drawn by the spiders, but if that is the case, and as was the rest of this room, what voice were they listening to that likely told them to do this? I doubt they would have done it on their own.
Perhaps they also hear the mountain.
You still have the moon touch sword sheathed, correct?
Uh-huh.
Vorst, why were you so hungry?
Something came over me and felt the need to eat and drink.
Be very careful with what you listen to here.
Hmm.
I don't think anyone should leave Vorst or Ethir unattended.
Sure. Worst, I can stay with you.
Alright. You still have your shield?
No, I lost it.
With the light?
Oh, yes, sure.
What shield did you lose? Did you lose a shield?
No, but I would be, like, clearly holding my shield like in one arm.
Do you still have your nightlight?
Did you cast it?
Wasn't it?
Or was it already on?
I think it was probably already on.
Yeah.
It was already on.
Yeah.
So I would just tap my shield then.
Shall we?
Yes.
Felix? Rita?
What are we doing?
Exploring.
Nice.
Go with us.
Where are we going?
To
Victoria,
those shops over there.
should we have Nesgrim and
Huts.
Small huts, yes.
Yeah. It's probably gonna be really good hut stuff in there, dude.
I think so.
Keep an eye
Gems.
going on.
And herbs.
We can use the herbs, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what would we do with gems.
It's a good question.
Guess we'll have to find out, you know.
Yes.
Gem stuff.
Should we have Ritora and Nesgrim in the same group, along with one person that has already heard the voice of the mountain?
Yeah.
I think it should be fine.
We will be close.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
has.
you guys are able to see the shops. They look genuinely like maybe 10 by 15.
Sure.
Sure.
They are stacked next to each other. They look comparable to what would be like row homes, genuinely.
Sure.
Where they are jutted up next to each other. They are just separated by walls, so this way there is no argument about whose shop is whose.
Got it.
Like,
It's like a flea market.
yes.
Cool.
Frankly,
Okay.
Ethir, you are still quite weak and should not be left alone either.
Yes.
And I do not think Felix or I will be much help in carrying things that we find.
Okay.
And so we bring Rita.
All right.
Yeah. Bring Rita.
I feel well enough to take care of the two of these together.
Okay.
These.
Since coming down here, I know it's not always like, it's not like an on and off kind of thing, but the feeling of the mark on my hand and the mental pull of
It has been absent until now.
is it back?
It's for you to infer.
What do you
Someone did a thing in the dark and made magic, and it felt similar to the magic that is inside of you. Tugging. Begging you to use it. I'll say that. Okay.
Thanks for the
I'll just never ask anything again. Those are the worst words.
It was fine before, but
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Okay.
I'll say nothing at this point.
Very good.
I've said my bit.
Mm-hmm.
To the huts.
To the huts.
3 with Rearda. You 3 with Rearda.
Yep.
Okay. And then you 3.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I will say that again. It looks like it is about 70-ish feet over towards what is obviously across from you to the left. The buildings are small, singular openings. They obviously have large, what would look like double shingled windows to be able to see out. Because again, they would have the same kind of like windowsill platform that would extend out from the window. Just because.
It's like an ice cream stand kind of thing.
Yes, these are food stalls. They want to be able to serve people swiftly at drive-through walkings. Like.
This is like a food truck.
Yes, yeah, this is a lovely big food hall. It just happened to be manipulated by spiders at this point because everyone's dead.
Yeah, this
So the
is
spiders took over and they're running the businesses now.
Go
Yeah,
walk
this
in a place.
Yeah, very
Destroyed
good.
their economy.
Yeah,
McStonies.
I think we're the bad guys.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're the bad
They were
guys. in this.
successful
We?
business owners.
The spiders were fine.
Mhm.
They were doing their thing. They weren't hurting anybody.
They were running a farmer's market by themselves.
Spider market.
They were doing all right.
They were spiders.
Yeah,
That's what they were doing wrong.
Being spiders.
they're perfectly allowed.
I will say
be
that as you guys are
spiders.
walking over to this opposite side of the market, you are able to get a better vantage of what looks like this entire wall from end to end for where you guys are walking. So the room itself would be about 100-ish feet from where you entered to the opposite wall. On every 10 feet on this back wall would be a shop. So there's going to be 10 shops. Very easy division.
Yep.
Would you guys like to explore shops that are adjacent to each other for safety?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll just boop, boop, boop,
Good.
work our way down.
Who has-
How
who-
lit is this room? Sorry.
He has
Okay.
light on his shield. I do not know who else has a source of light. You do.
And you still have a torch.
Yes.
You have a physical torch lit. You have light cast on your
The lantern, right?
Would
lantern.
it, would it have gone out or would it have ignited? I don't know. It's acid rain.
It's conjuration. It's not a genuine liquid in my eyes that would have been able to dissolve the flame.
Sure. Okay.
So I'll say that that's fine.
Yeah.
So you guys have two sources of 20 bright, 20 dim. You also have a source of 20 bright, 20 dim. So as you guys approach, each of you guys taking, we'll say, stall 1, stall 2. Stall 1, would you guys go towards the area that is the open door frame, or would you guys go to the obvious shuttered window to be able to look inside?
I'd probably check the window first to see if it's worthwhile.
Sure. Got him! I knew I would get him.
Never check the window first.
Yeah, you approach the windowsill for dwarves. It would be pretty low. It would
Yeah.
only be about 3 feet high. This looks
Sure.
more like it's designed for children. So, like, as you approach the shuttered windowsill and you see that it's fully open, the shutters have, drastically fallen apart. We'll say that, like, half of one of the shutters is cracked through at half, and the, like, one exterior hinge is angled down now where it's, like, slightly swaying as you guys approach. Yeah, I'll say that as you look within, you can see a small area where there is like an old-fashioned wooden stove. You see just countertops on the side of it, and you can see along the back wall what would be akin to how we have plates stacked, like old wooden and stone plates and utensils, like big slotted spoons and stuff hanging from little iron hooks carved into the back of the wall. You would see inside, you have bright light for you as well. You'd be able to hold it aloft and illuminate the entirety of the stall. And you would see the various ingredients for what looks obviously like a cooking stall. So you would see, it would be rotten by now. It would probably just be exclusively leftover small hollow bones of obvious, like, bird-like creatures.
Sure.
No meat. You would see thin, like, webbings from spiders along the lower regions of the corners of the area, but, like, very small building. Just looks like it is a desiccated food stall.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fell far than fried chicken.
Yeah. 100%. FFC. I'm so hungry.
Frostfather fried chicken.
FFFC.
Felfarthen's original Frostfather's fried chicken.
I'm good, thank you.
That's the opposing stall.
Could be donuts.
Donut.
Could be donuts. Yeah, there's going to be a donut place.
Spiders.
Do you want a donut place? The second stall can 100% now be the donut place.
I was just thinking if you wanted a donut.
I'm good, thank you. But now the second stall is in fact a donut place.
Sure.
You can, as you three approach, I'll say that Reard is like looking in and just kind of like, chicken.
Remnants of chicken, yes.
Never had that dish. Remnants of chicken.
Hollow bones.
Yeah, they got hollow bones.
Yes. They do.
You alright over there, dude? You're just saying obvious stuff.
Yes. I am okay.
I don't suppose any of the herbs that we need would be used for preparing chicken.
I will say that you do see that there are obvious, like, little containers that would look like they've got salts and other spices.
How
Are
many?
there 11?
Yeah, there's 11. There's 100% 11 separated herbs and spices. There's no markings.
Damn it.
They're secret.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go inside so I can. I'm not gonna taste it. That's a bad plan.
See, one of them just says, "You
Not
thought."
done much.
Yeah, as a chef boy,
RD.
I'm gonna try to determine what these herbs and spices are.
Yeah, very good. I will ask you to make a singular nature check.
Here's that KFC. We're coming for you.
18.
18.
Yes.
I'll say that you absolutely, in the presence of all these beautiful aromas, have existed and not decomposed. I'll say that they were well contained with little, tightly affixed wooden lids inside these wooden containers. They would look, similar to like little versions of cookie jars, and you pull one off and you pull another off, and you're a sniff boy.
Oh, sniffing salts.
Yeah. Ooh, these are good stuff. Yeah.
That's some strong
Treading on
rosemary.
dangerous territory, Dom.
Yeah, I'll say absolutely that you get the odors of what you would associate with common spices and herbs like salt, pepper. We'll say that you get a little bit of a delicious frosty chili.
Ooh.
And some delicious dill.
We'll say there's dill. There's 100% dill now. Like, you get that, we'll say that you get, rosemary, sage, thyme, savory odors.
Sure.
The complexities of roasting a chicken.
Okay.
You get all these things.
So the only one that seems like special would be the frosty chili.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am gonna take that. Put it in my bag. How much does it weigh?
I'll say that it weighs, because of the container, we'll go with 1 pound.
Great. We're good.
Is that your carrying capacity?
No, we're getting there.
That's what he's got left. This is all I will take with me. Frosted chilies.
Say there was salt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 1 pound. You have a pound of salt.
That's a lot of salt.
Yeah.
Never
got
know
a
when
bag
you're
of
going to need
salt.
another
Yeah.
blessing.
Like, the
It's
container
soul
would
food.
be about this big.
Exactly.
Sure.
But
Like one of the
salt.
Morton sea salt containers.
Correct, yes.
Soul food.
Mhm.
Yes.
Do you want a container?
I'm sorry?
Do you want a container of a spice or an herb?
Yeah, give me some Old Bay.
Ooh. I'll say that there's definitively a mixed blend of what would you, as Paul would associate with delicious Creole seasoning mixes here in the frozen north. Gandar would be so proud.
I mean, given
I
the
know
age,
it's in that damn book.
Yes. I need that one.
Given the age too, I guess it would be Young Bay.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
I would like some chili lime salt spice, please.
No.
No!
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Good day, son.
You lose.
And you said it's a pound?
Yes, it's a pound.
Holy shit.
Mhm.
You're gonna have a crab bake.
Mhm. Yeah.
I hope you already got the crabs.
No.
Spiders, it's okay.
A spider bake.
It's like a land
We're
crab.
having an old-fashioned spider boil.
You're
Come
not
on
wrong.
by.
But also not helpful.
Yeah, I don't know another good way to describe this, but for where you guys are, you would get the horrific odor of long spoiled goat milk. Because we're now in the donut place, and we've got to make delicious glazes for the donuts. So you see pounds of what would look like, sugar that is still, we'll say, intact because it's sealed and well contained. But yeah, no, you'll see barrels of where, we'll also say you see an old-fashioned like butter churn. You'll see that where that also is leaking and kind of split apart. You see horrible piles of goat milk that's dried out and is chunky like an old curdled terrible
God,
sour
just like-
cream.
Cottage cheese.
Yes, yeah.
So it's still damp?
Yeah.
This is some
Goats are hardy.
Some shit's not adding up here.
We're in a
Listen, the
cave
spiders were
system
running a
under a
business. They had to milk the goats.
It's spider milk, isn't it?
it's a cave system under a
you
snow-covered
mean
mountain.
Yeah, no,
Probably damp.
it is very cold down here.
Yeah.
Like, there is absolutely almost a sensation of natural refrigeration.
Just not that well.
Yeah, like, it's perpetually, 10 degrees down here.
It can only do so much.
Yes, yeah, after, however many years that Balor has lied about that things have gone astray, eventually all things will fade.
Are there any packaging for the donuts?
Yes, I'll say that you see little So if you were to go to a carnival, you know how they have the ring toss game?
Yeah.
I'll say that you see little wooden boxes that have little wooden spokes for perfectly sized donut holes.
Where they just like set them out on the...
Yep. We'll say that you see like 7 or 8 boxes of those. I'll say that I guess you have mountain frying oil because we gotta fry these donuts.
I feel like that's probably gonna smell worse than the milk.
Yeah, 100%. The old molded oil in like a big old barrel.
It definitely
in the corner.
goes rancid
Yes,
after
it
a
does.
period of time.
Yeah, so horrible stall. You guys got the nice stall. You guys went to KFC.
Who would have thought donuts
We
could be
went
so
to
bad?
fucking dystopian Cinnabon.
You kind of did.
So
actually.
regular Cinnabon.
It's a regular Cinnabon.
I will say that there
Only
are
thing
large
Dunkin'
containers
Fell
of
farther than
cinnamon, nutmeg,
Yes.
sugar, various delicious, more savory spices like that.
Would Nesgrim know if those spices are common out in the world?
Yeah, they're not like uncommon. I would say that those would still be things that would have been present in Ryak.
Sure.
So,
So not something worth taking then.
yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna take one of the...
Like if you guys want some delicious vanilla beans, we can go down that route. Like whatever we want.
Can I get some cacao trees?
Trees. Trees. No, you can have cacao nuts. You want some nuts, DJ?
And the leaves as well?
No.
I'm gonna go back to Overwatch and start, not Overwatch, Oshuamp and start trapping.
No. You can have some delicious dried cacao nibs. Do you want those?
Oh, those are the worst.
Yeah, but
Is
you
there
know-
a cinnamon?
Terry Crews loves
yes,
them.
there is cinnamon.
I want some cinnamon.
You want some sticks, or do you want powdered? I'll say there's a mortar and pestle. You want to powder some cinnamon real quick?
I'll just take the sticks.
Very good. Yeah, we'll say you get a bundle of cinnamon sticks.
How heavy is the mortar and pestle? Is it like a big one or like a
Like a pocket boy. We'll say like a pocket mortar and pestle.
Can I take the
5
pocket
pounds.
one too?
Not the one I
You got it. Yeah,
Pocket
not the
boy.
one you got. You got a mortar and pestle.
Cool.
Got yourself a pocket boy.
I hate it. I hate that.
DJ knows a thing or two about a pocket boy.
Pocket boy.
I don't know how I feel about that.
These are the first 2 stalls. We've gathered lovely ingredients here.
Very good.
We're gonna
How
walk,
many-
move our way
Around
down
their
the
stall to the
walkthrough.
next
How
one.
many cinnamon sticks?
10.
10.
Cinnamon sticks.
Fuck it. 10.
I mean, they don't weigh.
What is she gonna
they don't
kill me
weigh
with
anything.
cinnamon sticks? If she gouges a ghost's eyes out with cinnamon, yeah, the ghost is gonna sneeze. Gazoom pipe.
Listen, we're gonna challenge Balor to do the cinnamon challenge.
Clearly, I've been defeated.
Carve out all the souls that he's consumed.
Give me
Not
some
bad.
water. No.
Please. I'll give you anything you want. Just give me water.
Quit being a bitch.
If only they were one less stick.
Oh, is that chocolate? Oh, what is this? It's horrible. It's cacao nibs.
He'll be like the Grinch when they're feeding him all the pudding.
Welcome to your interrogation.
We're just gonna feed you salt and sweets.
Cinnamon board.
Don't you remember how terrible it was being alive?
Seriously, dude.
What was his favorite meal? Throw me!
Was it duck?
Where's the Phil's Kitchen book then?
Yeah, so
Where's Guy
you said you were going over to the next stall, stall number 3. Very good. Yeah, we'll say that this stall is filled with obvious barrels of what look like delicious, sugary, crystallized treats. So if you were to, crystallize sugar, like caramelize it, you would see that there would be small little toffees and things like that.
Rock
And little
candy.
barrels. Yeah, delicious rock candy. Very fitting for the Rock Boys.
Exactly. I like it.
I'm just gonna take
Take a bag.
Take some.
Yeah, I'll say that there are small pouches on hooks along one of the back walls, and you see.
Does it look good or?
Yeah, it still looks fine. And some delicious caramels.
Poke it.
Yeah, it's still it's a little bit firm, but it's still got the traditional yummy caramel squish to it.
Oh, those.
soft.
Ooh, okay.
Those things
yeah,
are,
yeah.
I love those, man.
I'm gonna take 2 pouches of those.
Gamdar's finest.
Yeah,
Is that what it says?
yeah. Gandar's finest caramels.
Yep, I'm taking 2 pouches.
Very good. Yeah, you take 2 pouches. We'll say that each of them weigh a pound. You got 2 pounds of fucking delicious soft caramels.
That's a lot of soft caramels.
It's great.
We're gonna kill somebody with those.
Yeah, 100%.
Somebody's gonna
Somebody get
Stop like a caramel allergy. And,
Death by caramel.
hey, Arthur, do you want a caramel?
Use them as caltrops.
You've heard of waterboarding.
It'll turn any
It's
floor into a
caramel
movie.
Melt it down and just pour it on someone.
If we feed it to the hag, get all stuck in her teeth.
Very uncomfortable.
No more
Very
really
she can't
unpleasant.
talk.
It's the crown scene from the first season of Game of Thrones.
It's caramel.
Except with caramel.
Hail to the king.
You guys want to do stall 4?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Did either of you guys want rock candy or caramels?
The pouches, like
Small
decent,
canvas cloth pouches.
decent though. Like,
Yeah, they still look like they're intact.
I'm gonna like pour some of the candy out and snag a couple of those
Sure, yeah.
while we're out here on herb grab.
Sure, yeah. We'll say you can have 6 pouches. Add them to your inventory. You guys want stall number 4?
Yes, please.
Very good. Yeah. I'll say that you guys wrap around as you see Felix just gradually taking caramel. Yeah.
It's almost still sticky.
Yeah, we'll say that you guys go to the 4th stall, and you'll see that it is got like a kiln set into the back. You can see long, stretched out racks from it. You can see big piles of flour and what would look obviously like yeast, and you found another little bakery for fresh, delicious loaves of bread. You would see long, like they probably have a name, but like the fucking
The
long,
paddles.
Sure.
what is it?
Like a paddle?
Like an oar.
Yeah, like a paddle where you get fucking bread out. Bread paddle. You see like 3 or 4 of them. Again, it's a pretty small space, so it doesn't look like it's obviously going to be able to feed an abundance of people. Do you want the paddle?
Is there a sourdough starter in here?
Yeah, yeah, a very nicely 100-and-something-year-old sourdough starter.
It's the boiled
It's great.
Boyle family sourdough starter.
Gandar's finest doughs.
Does Gamdar run every one of these stalls?
Yes.
Is Gamdar the Frostfather?
No,
It's the Gamfather.
she is the great-grandmother.
I am the grandmother of the mountain.
The Frostfather's mother.
Ah, God damn it, Father.
Mother Frost.
What are you doing? You ruined my sourdough starter. But yeah, you see the ingredients comprised for making bread in various barrels and little containers. A lot of it would be molded and pretty old. You see the paddles on the back walls. You guys are still illuminating the areas around you. I'll tell you that for especially you with having such an incredibly high passive perception now with Observant, you don't hear any movement around you, obviously, other than your friends as they're shuffling around through these stalls. You get the sensation that, like, this was genuinely akin to a fairgrounds, where the stage, as you guys are moving along through the center of the room, you can see that there were areas on the stage in which obviously there would have been possibility in presentation settings. So like you would see, you know, small instruments that would be strewn about. So like a lyre, you would see a set of drums that are like adjacent to one of the what would be the central stairs ascending up onto the stage. You guys now at the center point would be able to see that there is on the stage at the central point of it, there is obviously a declination and a hallway behind the center point of the stage for what would look like it would go back into some other room. We can conclude the stalls first, and then I will do the remainder of the market square as a setting. I just don't want to miss with where you guys are now reaching the 4th and 5th stalls, what would obviously be the center point behind the stage.
Cool.
Cool. So, yeah, we'll say that 4th stall for you guys.
I'm gonna take the sourdough starter.
You take the sourdough starter? Yeah, I'll say that it's in a nice glass jar with a sealed, like, large cork lid. I'll say that weighs 3 pounds. Mostly because of the size and density of the jar itself and the cork.
Are there any, like, in good shape burlap sacks
In here?
from the grain.
Yeah. I'll say that there's as well, obviously, wheat and like barley, I would even say would be present here. Mostly just for maintenance and keeping. But yeah, if you want a burlap sack. I don't know if there's specifically a burlap one, but like there is definitely sack in Beyond. So like
Sack is added.
sack is added. Did you want to look for anything else here?
This is the bread bakery, right?
Yes. Correct.
Recipes?
Sure. I mean, I'll say that there's like a little cabinet. You can make the investigation check specifically for recipes because they might not be in areas where you think.
Oh shit, cool. You said investigation, right?
Correct.
That is a 13?
Sure.
13.
I'll say that below the windowsill, etched into the wood, you see a pair of hands with big sacks in them, just dumping stuff out. And you see like what obviously looks like a little table. And then next to that, you see the hands just slapping the stuff. And then next to that, you see the hands forming the stuff.
So like the instructions on how to make...
Yes! They made this as idiot-proof as they could. Gamdar had a lot of Grimdar-esque employees, we'll say.
Just gonna
I
point
believe
that out.
Bam, 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 bam!
Just gonna point that
There's
out.
gauntlets.
Yes, they're gauntlets. You're making the bread with delicious instead of oven mitts.
Very
Delicious
good.
gauntlets.
Very good.
Yep. Cool. We'll go to fifth stall for you guys, unless there's anything else you guys wanted to look for in the fourth. Again, all same building construction types of, old desiccated wood. Like, they still look like they're intact. There's a little bit of shifting in the awning as, the weight of time. The fifth one, as you guys, again, circle around to them and you look inside, you can see an area in which it looks like there's an enormous cauldron. Like, set into the, not the wall, but like right before the wall, you can see that there's a chimney that extends upwards. And along the sides of it, you can see that on the counters there are what would be sacks of potatoes and other root vegetables. Found the soup kitchen, Don.
Very good.
Made you a soup kitchen.
Very good.
I will tell you that all the ingredients in here are rotten and split open and, look horrible, give off a terrible odor. You do see one enormous spoon. That is it.
I am going to search for recipes as somebody that has to make a lot of soups because we have water as an ingredient.
Sure,
in this,
absolutely,
so-
yeah. Yeah, you can make an investigation check for soup recipes.
Just gonna point at the spoon. Is it metal? Wooden?
I would say that it's a big metal spoon.
Rirda?
Yeah!
We need it.
Spoon? Fuck yeah.
Is it that big?
Yes.
Oh my.
It would look like 6 feet high.
Oh my god.
What?
Yes. Big
I
spoon.
didn't think you meant that big.
Yes, it's like the shovel.
Oh my god.
Spoon is too big.
What do I do with it?
That's his weapon.
You hit bad things with it.
Fuck yeah. Spoon them.
Trial show.
Come here. I am the big spoon.
Wait, you said it's... you said it's like 6 feet tall?
Yes, it's a comically large spoon.
These
Thank
are
you, Sam.
dwarves.
Yes.
Oh god.
He's like a nighttime vigilante. That's his name. The Big Spoon. On
Oh
rooftops.
shit, we gotta go. It's the big spoon. Bam!
You hear the howl and you know he's there.
It's the spoon signal.
It's a spoon that wasn't for using. It's a spoon that was for signage.
Mm-hmm.
For beating.
Name of the shop.
Like
spoon.
it's genuinely very heavy. Like it looks like it's like a 50-pound spoon.
Oh my god.
Can't wait for him to use it as a mace.
Yeah.
It's an 8 on the investigation check.
An 8. I'll say that you find amidst underneath piles of flour and things like that. Areas in which there's obviously rotten butter and stuff. You'll find one small little recipe, and it just says Gramdar's finest gumbo.
Ooh, yeah.
To say that in common.
Yeah, I'll give it to him in common. She was trying to make sure that when she prepared herself to sell her exquisite recipe books, that she was first in common.
Very good.
She knew she'd have to make it big someday.
Probably need Old Bay for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Felix, I might have a use for the Old Bay.
Mm-hmm. I'll say that you see like a very crude drawing of her. And I'm going to draw.
Oh God! What?
I like that you've defined it as crude because you're about to draw yourself.
I found a gumbo recipe. I might have use for your spice.
You gotta spice it
It
up.
was fine until you
Strangely
paused.
intimate moment.
Do you need us to leave? Like,
No.
But first, Verda, I need you to spoon.
Good gumbo sounds good.
Yes.
Very good.
Oh, please.
There you go, buddy.
Oh, that's horrifying.
She looks like a spider! Gamdar is a spider, isn't she?
John, what's going on the side? Elephant ears?
I think it's hair.
I don't.
Spider legs.
Alright. She's got a spider head.
Just like
Top
my
hand.
I said it was crude.
Yeah.
She looks like my apple.
Same shape. Spot the difference.
well, anyway.
Mm-hmm. So we found the soup kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
You guys want to go to 6?
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. I'll say that as you guys approach the opening for 6 and peer inside, you can see within small bushels of what would have actually been apples, where you see just like cores and seeds carelessly strewn out over the floor. You would see along the back walls as well, kind of like low-hanging areas in which would have been bushels of like attached to wrought iron hooks, kind of how we have extending out for the lanterns. You would see baskets hanging down for what would have been plants. So you would see the formation of small plants, and you would see soil that still exists within, but really dried out, obviously, because it has not been watered or well kept at all. You can see that there were obviously herbs and things of that nature that were kept inside of here. If you would like to check to see whether or not there is anything residual that is usable, I would permit you to do that. If you could make a nature check, please.
I can certainly try. $11.
11. I will say that they're not usable, but you would see small, wilted away, very thin fragments of what Rator would associate with tea leaves. So they would be very brittle, like not even able to like pick up thin fragments of like the little spokes for the stem from where it branches out.
Would there be any of like the rootage left?
If you would like to root around for that, what did you have? 12?
It was an 11.
An 11. I'll say that you find some very withered roots. As Rator, you would know it would be very unlikely for you to be able to make something out of it, just because of how old and decrepit and brittle these are. These do not look at all like the individual substances that you have been requested to find, though. But they do give you the inclination that there is a sense of care and tenderness that was devoted here between the stalls that you have found for cooking. They did care for herbs and other plant-like substances, even still here in the dark.
I will leave behind.
The baskets of rotten
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Sadly.
Rip.
Yep. 7? Yeah, I'll say that as you guys wrap around that, as you get to this stall, you can see that the back wall is not actually a wooden wall. It jets into the stones, and in the back stones, you can see sprouting out through little areas, small, curved upwards, conical shapes of mushrooms. And on the height, you can see that there is a small angled, what would look kind of like a pipe fitting,
Okay.
where it would be extending down from ceiling shaped towards the mushrooms themselves. in the grounds in here, you would see what would look like the thin, wilted, withered away remains of mushrooms. So like incredibly, again, firm. Like you would see effectively just the stems that would still exist here, stuck in areas on the ground. And you would see, again, not like a large cauldron like there was before, but you would see a mortar and pestle on the table. You would see what would obviously have been small jars of, thin glass bottles of various liquids. A few of them give off the acrid odor of what would be rancid oils. Found the LSD store.
So like a curtain in the
mushrooms.
back.
So this is the shroomery.
Yes, you found the shroomery. You found Gandar's Get High Emporium.
There's definitely a back curtain, right?
There is not a back curtain. There is just the wall of shrooms.
Is there a
Okay.
sick blacklight poster? Nice.
A lava lamp.
That was what was in the ceiling. Prestidigitation inside of it, and it would conical down over the shrooms and just stare at it.
So that means everything was legal down here. Otherwise, it would be paraphernalia up front, curtain, product in the back.
Gandor was driven. That's how she made all her recipes. What's a gumbo? I don't know, but I'm about to find out.
You got a really good plan for some new spice.
No, my name's
Gonna call it Old Bay.
Yeah, there's mushrooms, though. Still fungal growth out from
Sure.
areas in which you can see there are, into the stones themselves, small, like, mossy ferns, kind of like how we have over here.
Sure. Yeah, I would try to identify any that might be used for medicinal purposes and which ones to avoid due
Sure.
to, like,
Make
Which
an
ones to
check.
feed to Nesgrim?
natural 20.
Natural 20?
Nice.
Yeah, I will say that there are thin ones that look like they have yellow spottings that you would associate with mushrooms that are used in mood-altering effects. So they are like a thin white mushroom with small yellow dots. I'll tell you that there are ones that have kind of like stretching out from the stem up over the blooming like plumage for the dome. You can see ones that have what look like almost spiraling out into a concentric circle, like a brown thin line. You would associate those with things that are numbing agents that are good for medicinal purposes if people are in pain.
We had previously learned about the shamans from Borst's tribe using hallucinogenic
Correct.
plants, correct?
You guys aren't in the shroomery.
Sure.
But yeah, I'll tell you that in terms of ones that you would know to avoid, you don't see any that feel like you should avoid them.
Okay.
You see that those are the two prominent ones that look like they have an actual
Yeah, that haven't, like,
availability.
rotted away.
Yeah, I'll say that they look like small, almost like a crystal cluster.
Okay.
Like there is one in which there is an obvious central membrane and there are small pokings out. It would be very tiny, thin boys, only maybe like a half an inch in length. They look like they have the coloration throughout the dome of like a copper color, and the extending portion underneath would be like a thin stretching like linear, almost like if you were to sit too long in water and
Sure.
you get the wrinkling in your fingers. The stem would have that similar wrinkling, and it would have like a bit of a light green hue to it underneath.
Okay.
I'll tell you that you associate those with something that, when consumed, imbibes a sensation of like hardiness and fulfillment. For hunger specifically.
Okay.
How common or uncommon are these for the area that we're in?
Inside of the north, I'll say that the three people who have spent time out in the north, they're not incredibly uncommon. They are found pretty frequently in areas not whatsoever associated with any like negativity or concerning materials. These look like natural fungal and moss growths.
Okay.
Are there any that don't look as common to this area?
Nope.
Yeah, I'll, Yalamlo, can I have one of those sacks that you picked up? Yeah. fill my sack with some shrooms.
Yeah, I'll say that you
Shroom
get,
sack.
6 ounces of each of those.
Okay.
Anything else you guys wanted to do in 7 before we jump to 8? You're good, good. Cool.
Can I take one of the hanging baskets from the previous?
Yeah, if you wanted to dump out like the rotting stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Dump like
Just-
the old broken brittle soil onto the ground here.
My jar and my cinnamon sticks,
Mhm.
and then
Go shopping.
Shopping basket.
You asked for a shopping episode.
yes,
And I provided one just in a terrifying context.
it's a market episode.
Yeah.
It's
Your
also
shopping episode where you don't gotta pay
free.
for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
a discount.
You just gotta find the things that aren't rotten yet.
Or trying to kill you.
Yep. Yeah. For 8, as you guys approach it, look in through the shuttered area, you can see that along the back walls, it's an obvious coat racks set, where you can see that there are various nicely tailored fur-lined cloaks. Obviously a little bit smaller because they are designed for dwarven people. Still would be pretty fitting for anybody of like 5'5" and under. Would be a little bit smaller on the people that are taller, but you can see that there are 4 still nice and intact. They obviously look like they've got a thick layer of dust, and like in the presence of where you guys are, it obviously still is a very musty room. And you can see along the bottom, there's a 2-tiered shelf of what look like boots.
Do they look nicer than what we are currently
Yes.
dressed in?
Mm-hmm.
Would I associate those boots with like work boots or dress boots or
You would
Every
associate
day.
them with dress boots.
dress boots?
Same with the cloaks. That these are designed for more formal attire. You can see also hanging from the walls like obvious, again, wrought iron hooks attached are spools of various colored yarns and fabrics. So a very small tailor, like this is a, hey, while you're here in the market, if you need something hemmed, if you need something stitched, if you want to buy, we have a few nice purchasable pieces of material. But I don't know if you guys want cloaks or boots.
Would the
I would probably take a cloak.
Sure. What color would you like?
Or they're fur lined, you said, right?
Correct. Yeah, they all look like they're lined with the fur of bear and wolf.
Oh, okay. I would take white. Then.
Sure. White cloak with what color fur for accent?
White, ideally.
Sure. White on white. You got it.
I'll take one. Actually, I'll take the cloaks and like a cloak and boots.
Sure.
If the boots would fit.
Yeah.
And they're dress boots, not work
Correct.
boots, right?
These
Okay.
are not. The boots are not utilized in either adventuring or exploration. These are if you are looking for something for possibly a nice event that is occurring at the conclusion of the month that you guys have been invited to. Possibly a good opportunity to give yourself a bit of an upgrade in formal attire.
I'll also grab a pair of boots.
There you go.
You said there are boots that look like they fit us.
Yep.
Probably sit there for a second and just match it up to my foot. What do they seem to be made of?
Definitely like a sturdy leather, like a nice tanned leather.
Human leather.
We should call the others in here too.
Lick it. That's human.
Definitely a person.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab a set of boots.
Sure.
I'm also gonna look around. I would like to look for a sewing kit.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
needed that.
Absolutely, there is a sewing kit in here.
Beautiful.
Yep. Yeah. In terms of like tools, that would probably be the only tool set that would be available in here, and it would only be a singular sewing kit.
Should we call the others in here as well to grab
That is
Think so.
not a thing.
cloaks? What was Rearda wearing?
Rearda was wearing some pretty shitty old torn apart stuff.
Give him some clothing.
Get him something.
Yes.
Like his boots were, mostly ribbed. The soles were pretty separated. So I mean, you guys are obviously 10 feet away. If you wanted to call Rearda
Yeah.
would come over and just feet stuff.
Yep.
Come here, boy.
Help him find a pair of
He
boots.
just rips off boots. You can see as he rips off his boots, his feet are comparable to his hands, in which they are desiccated, but you can look and see that obviously in the same way that he's got the razor extended talons, he has effectively claws. So like he has human toes, but they conically shape out towards claws, and he just, I haven't taken my shoes off, and oh my god, my feet.
He's got
Force.
velociraptor feet.
He just
Are
holds
there-
his foot up aloft.
Are there socks in here?
No.
Okay.
He's got velociraptor toes.
Pretty much.
You can dive on a lake and catch a trout.
Can you help me, buddy?
What do you... to get them on?
Yeah. I'm just kidding. Starts to pull boots on. And you wanted to offer him a cloak as well? Yeah, you take one.
Is there enough for everyone to
4 cloaks.
4 cloaks?
Mm-hmm. 4 cloaks, 4 sets of boots.
I should take all of it. We could sell what we.
Mm-hmm.
And any sort of clothing out here could prove useful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he takes the boots, puts on the cloak, steps back out, sees you guys. We'll pop over to 8. Or sorry.
Yep.
No. You guys are odd numbers. You guys should be 9.
9.
Yeah, you guys see Rita come back out in a slightly nicer looking cloak, nice boots. Just kind of steps for a minute. My feet make noise.
Yes, looks very comfortable.
Yeah. Never had nice shoes.
The perks of dwarven ruins.
Yeah,
You love dwarven ruins,
I do.
after all.
Mm-hmm. What are we
Number
doing?
9.
Yeah. You guys step over towards the 9th stall. And as you guys get over there, you can see that it is obviously a small little, what would have been a brew hall for an area in which there are just once more like 3 to 4 small casks and barrels along the back, a bunch of mugs. I will say that this is the first area that you guys have seen what looks like a large, like, we'll go with a wooden bowl in which inside you can see that there is a large pile of gold and silver coins. Covered it slightly in webbing, but cobwebbing to indicate dust and stuff. But you can see that there's a pile of gold. You can see cracked mugs that look like they have fallen off, some hooks on the grounds from areas in which along the western and eastern walls the hooks have just kind of slid across the time. And the open casks and barrels of ale smell rancid.
Yeah, I'm gonna see the silver and just kind of shudder a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We should still gather it.
Yes, if someone else could.
I'm
at
gonna
least
open my
give it a-
sack
Mm-hmm.
and Luigi's Mansion style, just with mystic hand, just suck it in.
Yep. Yeah. I'll say that you get 12 gold and 24 silver.
We can divide all of that later
Yes.
after we are out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Offset some of what we owe to Arthur.
I'll nod.
And then you guys would be still 10.
Yep.
That was
We
gold.
could
You
also
said it
sell
was in
him
there.
desperate.
Sorry, what?
Gold was in there.
Gold and silver.
It's a bank.
Sell him back.
No. This was a small place for ales.
Yeah, it was a
Ah.
tip jar.
Yes, it was a tip jar.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I will say that the 10th stall, inside, as you look, there is simply a small pair of stools in the center. And then there is what looks like a small cot elevated into the back corner of the wall. As you are standing in here, you would see, like, along to the left of the cot, a small countertop, and on it you would see small powders and pigments. And you would see needles laid out on a table. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. To get a commemorative Phil Farthing tattoo, you come to Gamdar's finest tats.
Shit.
There'd be another drawing of Gamdar just jacked as shit and tatted up.
Hopefully she just didn't come from the mushroomery.
Yeah, I got this.
Get over here, Nesgrim.
What do you want? A duck? You got it.
They've got rules against that kind of thing.
I'll just kind of point at it.
Yeah. Powdered pigments, various colors.
Would I be able to identify it as what I think it is?
Yes. As an individual who, in your culture, your people absolutely would have had commemorative markings and tattoos to demonstrate like their prowess and stuff. Yes, you would know.
Cool.
Old-fashioned like stick and poke shit though.
I'm gonna gather some up.
Pigments?
Mm-hmm.
They're in small, not sealed bowls, and they're like covered in cobwebs.
Sure.
Yeah, no.
Probably
If you want
should
to
not
clear
use
them
those
and
anymore.
yeah, if you want to dump them into a sack and have a big
Oh,
shimmery sack of colors, you can do that.
Color sack.
water balloon full of ink.
Actually, you know what? Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's not a bad idea.
He's gonna kill somebody with that.
Before you
I wonder what I could do with a sack full of dust.
before you dump it, I'm gonna kind of like tap one of the pigments and is it still resiny or is it more on the powder side?
I would say it would be more on the powder side.
You know what this is used for, right?
No.
Drawing.
On skin?
Oh, this is tattooing.
Yes.
God damn it, DJ.
I don't know what it is. Tattooing.
Nobody in the
That's
party
good
has
that you come up
tattoos.
with
Nobody in the party has tattoos. You haven't seen anybody with tattoos. I would say that you would understand the idea of drawing in skin. I would say you don't know tattoo ink.
Fair.
Would oh jeez. Would Buck have had tattoos?
No, I don't think Buck actually did. Buck probably would have on like the chest and torso,
But nothing
but
we
Buck
would've
was pretty
seen.
covered.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the only one is the horrifying marks on
I'm trying
Adrian.
to think like
Nivara, too.
Correct.
True,
You guys
true,
have
true.
seen people with
Yeah.
drawings in their flesh, but
Sure.
not called like tattoo.
Tattooing.
Skin art.
Scar.
No, I don't know what it's used for.
Oh, you know the like Naivaro has
Sure.
with her pictures?
Sure.
It's the same thing.
Oh, and this is what makes the markings?
And you poke it in, yes.
Could you do that?
Me? No. They've done it in our tribe
Have you ever seen it done?
once or twice.
Do you think you could replicate it?
Couldn't be too hard.
I'll stab you. Want me to stab you?
We can give it a shot. You want to grab some needles?
not sanitary. They're covered in cobwebs.
If we can properly package it, perhaps later.
I
Sure.
thought I would kill Nesgrim with Hep B. Got him.
Of the long con.
Right.
I just don't feel good today, guys.
Fired.
Yeah, so I'll
The
gather up
bean.
whatever pointy objects I can find from in there and put those in nicely wound in a rag in a sack.
Yeah.
While he packs up the
Very good.
Pigments.
preferably not mixed
I don't know how I'm going to store them without mixing them.
There's
cellophane
entire
jars.
like just spice jars and stuff that we could
Oh,
dump. in.
true.
Just put
Yeah.
salt in it.
I'll go back and get some spice jars and dump the spices out of
I
them.
can't wait till you have cayenne in your veins, dude.
Love it.
Oh, God.
Well, I can't rinse them.
Yeah.
Just spitting them.
It's fine. Just get like the
It's
little,
getting
like,
less
base-
sanitary somehow.
Right.
Let me clean these out.
Alright, we're all good.
I assume all the needles are pre-packaged and autoclaved already. It's fine.
They're not.
They wouldn't just leave the unsterilized needles.
Definitely
If anything, they're probably cleaner than they've ever been since
Yeah,
there's nothing
really.
touching them for 200 years.
I mean, can pathogens last that long?
200 years? Not unless they're in soil.
Yeah.
Good news.
I can't think of a means to carry them without, like you said, putting cayenne in my tattoo ink.
Yeah, I will tell you that, like, you know you're going through other areas. You might find other things in
Sure.
other
It's also
areas.
technically-
This might be a thing to return to.
Sure, fair enough.
Cool. Yeah. Those are the 10 stalls.
I'm gonna walk out and look at my friends. Find anything interesting?
Bread starter.
Sorry?
What?
We can make bread.
Saw a hallway over by the stage. We should probably
Yes, we should inspect that. I
talk
found
about whatever that is later.
some mushrooms.
It's fine.
It's a fungus. Like yeast. It makes bread.
Yes.
Is yeast?
I don't think I've ever made
Yes.
bread before.
Yeast is alive.
Oh, I know it's alive, but I didn't know it's fungus.
It's fungus.
Yeah, it's got a social security number and everything.
Registered here in Philpott.
I got an AARP card.
I'm gonna walk up to Nesgrim, silently hand him a caramel candy.
What is this?
Candy? And I'll eat one.
Yeah, no, they're still good. They're definitely a little textured and like hard on the edges, but only in certain points. So I mean, in surface area, I'd say maybe like 30-35% of it is a little bit tough, but the interior is nice and chewy and sweet. Very well made.
I would
cheese-
eat
like a
mine
cheese
after
rind.
watching. I'd eat mine after watching Felix eat his.
Yeah, same
You
experience.
can really taste the cave air.
Very good.
Well preserved.
Indeed. It's quite good. Can I have another? Okay.
Later.
Okay.
Yeah?
In the last booth, does there appear to be any sort of art or papers or anything extra that would like tell me what they were making, or if they were freehanding this stuff, or
I suppose there would be. In terms of just like, again, in the same connection to how the bread was, there would be etched
Tattooing for
into
dummies.
the wall a like,
Another flash.
One guy bleeding out, this is what not to do.
Yes. I would say that there would definitely be some drawings, though, on the opposite wall of actual, like how you know, like the sheet, where you can
Flash,
just like
yeah.
pick the flash sheet. I would say that there would be, you know, like a tankard of ale with like bubbles coming out of it, and you know, like a couple of like crystal clusters that would be nice and pretty. You would be able to fill in for whatever color you would want.
Big booty barrels?
Yeah, big booty barrel for like a nice tramp stamp for Nesgrim. Really reminiscent of the buns.
I would
BBB
just want the
accredited.
word. If it's a tramp stamp, I'm just getting the words big booty barrel.
I think you should just get BBB accredited.
Oh, Better Business Bureau accredited tramp.
Big
Yep.
booty barrels.
I would say that there would be one of like a large like warhammer that would be encrusted with jewels around the edges and around the height of the handle and at the pommel. Yeah, comparable things like that. If you were looking for anything in particular,
was there anything reminiscent of Adrian or Nivara's tattoos?
no.
Okay.
Nothing associated with draconic visualizations or the like, you know, cursed dagger that existed. No Ankh, and
No defiled black claws.
yeah, no defiled black claws, no horrific, you know, broken draconic wings.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing along those lines.
And I would assume that like I would know that different groups did different types of tattoos.
Correct. Absolutely.
So this is predominantly the dwarven style.
Yeah. Correct.
Cool.
It's American traditional.
Yeah. It's dwarven traditional. I'm gonna go ahead and return the needles to where we found them. Actually,
Sure.
We're gonna be swinging back through. I'd rather not have pokey stuff in my bag.
Sure.
So much
Sharps.
pokey stuff.
Sharps.
What do you mean? We carried like daggers and stuff.
Yeah, but those have sheaths. These are loose needles in a bag.
Did you say you wrapped them?
Huh? I did wrap them, but I don't want those sharps around.
Slide around.
If I was gonna do it, I would assume that my people wouldn't have needles to do things. So I
You
would
should have used your dagger.
bones.
Claw and bone.
I do
Hollow
have
bird
bones.
bone. Yeah. You guys are gathered here outside of the 10 stalls.
The stairs.
Yeah, shall we
Stage.
Yes.
inspect
Yeah.
Get
this
all the-
hallway?
We got all the cloaks, right?
Correct. Yep. You guys grabbed the 4 cloaks, the 4 sets of boots.
Nothing we were looking for, though.
No.
Sadly,
Alright,
no.
We can make bread though.
Yeah, so in the center portion of the stage, behind the stage, you guys would approach, ascend up the central portion. Again, it's only about like a 7-ish high platform at the height of the stairs. Platform goes from end to end. As you guys are standing here, what would be to your left, so the opposite side of where you guys entered, in the center of the opposite wall, you would see a pathway that would extend. It would be about 10 feet wide, again, about 10 foot high in the ceiling, so it would be a pretty square-shaped descending hallway. And in front of you, in the center of the stage, going forward, you would see a thin hallway that goes, it's only about 5 feet wide, it goes about 15 feet, and it looks like it opens up into another large area. You would immediately get the odors of, again, rancid oils and alcohols.
I think there might be more food spaces back in here.
You would also smell rusted metal.
Ooh, okay.
Interesting.
Possibly pots or something of that sort. I do smell metal.
Kitchen, perhaps?
Yes. Possibly where they prepared the food for these tables.
Sure. I suppose we could check.
Yes.
Worth taking a quick
Can't
look.
hurt.
I'll tell you, because you guys have bright and then dim and then dark vision, you're able to see very slightly into the area ahead as it opens up, because your view would be kind of centraled and tunneled at the angle at which how far back we are at the onset. You would see the floor would look like it is stained very dark and heavily, and you would see a plethora of broken tankards, like split in half, all over the ground. Chaotic pattern. I would also tell you that you would be able to see, with that extension of vision, you would also be able to see that there are small, again, chaotic in the area of where the tankards are, fragmented pieces of bones.
Any skulls?
I would say from here it's hard to tell. You got a decent vision for being slightly elevated. I would say it would look like there are probably skulls in these piles, because they would look like collections, like heaps of bones.
Nesgrina, if you would assist me up front here.
Sure.
Just need your light.
Oh, sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and have my sword out just to be safe. Not the other one, my
Yeah.
wolf sword.
Regular.
Yeah. And go ahead and head on down the hallway
Sure.
to this room.
5 foot thing, so walking order is 1, and then who would go?
I'd probably be one.
I would
want
have
him
you
in front
behind
of
me.
you or
Yeah,
behind
just so
you?
the light's near me so I
Okay.
can see.
Sure. So then I'd be right behind dwarves.
Cool. Good one to go next.
I would go behind because I saw bones.
Sure.
I'll be behind him.
Mm-hmm. You want to be closer to the middle, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. I'd say Rearda's probably.
Do you want
Yeah.
Rear to be the back, or do you want to be
I'll
the
take.
back?
I'll go in front of. Actually, I'll stand behind Ruda.
Okay, so Rear and then Retora.
But
Yeah.
his name is Rearda.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a rear guard.
Cool.
But he also tried to eat the food
Mhm.
without being
yeah.
charmed by the food.
So I'll tell
He's
you,
hungry.
this hallway is only about 20 feet long. You descend the staircase that is on the back end. It looks like it's one of the
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
descend down, enter into this open area, and again, the horrific odor once more of toxic, rancid alcohols and oils that clearly look like they have gone molded. So like you would see small splotches in the areas in which the stones themselves of the flooring has darkened, having been seeped in alcohol. The room still smells strongly of it. Like, to all of you, it still smells strongly of it. I will say that as you step into this area, it's a pretty wide berth. as you guys are walking down, what would be to your left is about 15 feet before it becomes a right-angled wall. The room itself in that direction would extend. I'm just going to draw it. Because again, I understand that this stuff is like super hard to visualize.
Sure.
At a certain point, my brain just stops trying.
Correct. I know. It's also an oddly shaped area. So you guys would be entering from here.
Sure.
Okay.
So you would see this way to your left, about 20 feet, hit a wall, right angled turn down here. You would see that this wall does not look like it is collapsed in. This extension out, it is undetermined as to whether or not from where we are, because this is like 90 to 100 feet.
Sure.
In our vision, this would go beyond our dark vision. It would look
Sure.
like a hallway that is opening, but it is not something that at your angle you'd be able to see.
Got it.
This area is a collapsed in corner. So this wall looks like it would have continued. This area that is now blocked in is because of a cave-in. The wall looks curved as though it narrows in. You could climb over the rubble here. The ceilings are about 15 feet high. This rubble only goes about 7 to 8 feet in height.
Okay.
But this is what you guys, as you are ascending in, where you would be standing. In the areas around you, again, you would see probably about 30 to 40 piles of bones. You would see the tattered remains of cloaks, boots, toppled over into a heap. You would see the broken tankards, areas where the splotches around them would look like and give off the horrific odor of the rancid alcohols. In terms of decorations and furnishings, you would see along the walls, you would see once more large oil paintings of what would look like commemorative celebrations of the discovery process and creation of ales. So you would see different dwarven people looking like they are placing substances into barrels, mixing and heatings. You would see like an abacus where you would see the different like glass-shaped tubings for being able to heat and then condense liquids. You would see, obviously not dwarven scientists, but like you would see dwarven men in coats like celebrating and like cheering with tankards all around this obvious ale hole that is a commemorative area to, holy shit, we have perfected the concept of fermentation.
Does it look like it has
Like a sequencing?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I would like to follow it around the room.
Sure.
Just looking at all of it.
Cool.
Taking it all in.
Yeah, I will say that it begins immediately to your left. So like, I guess the like easiest association for me is like in Catholic churches, like the 12 steps effectively.
Right.
It would be along those lines where you would look at one and you would see a dwarven man like harvesting barley and wheat and other various grains, bringing them back.
Yeah, I'd walk slowly. And
Sure. As Felix is observing that, what would other people want to do? And I do not know where other people would want to go. You were in the bathroom. This is where you guys are entering.
There's one in the bathroom.
Oh, sorry, you were in the bathroom. I knew somebody moved. You were entering from in here. This area is collapsed. This looks like a hallway that continues but is outside of vision.
Okay. And it's
Felix would be
fairly
going this way.
fairly open on the inside, not
Yes.
cluttered with furniture or anything.
No furniture, heaps of bones, like 30 piles of what would look like people. That clothing, boots, attire concentrated in small points on the ground. You would see broken and split flagons or tankards that would look like they were dropped and broken.
Does it look like the bodies were piled, or does it look like they were huddled together and passed?
I will ask you to make an investigation check for that. 12. Okay. I will say that as you're entering the room, having seen from an elevation, it's hard to tell whether or not there is a pattern because you're not able to see from the height. You're only able to see kind of like a linear, flat, two-dimensional projection of this. It's hard to discern whether or not there is a contingency or consistency in the spacing between them, but it looks like, oh my god, there was a man here or a woman here, and just bloop, pile.
Okay, so it's not multiple bodies in one.
No,
Like
they're not
heaped.
like heaped.
Okay.
It's like
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
Bodies that were in a room that
Yeah.
all dropped.
Cool.
correct.
Got it.
Because I was thinking like they were heaped together, and I was
No.
like, oh god.
Yeah, I was worried
No.
the thing that ripped open the door was in here.
Yeah.
Nope. So that's 2 people. Anyone else like to be doing anything as we're entering in this room?
I'd
I would
probably
just be sticking with Ethir, whatever he's doing.
Okay. What would you do?
I would definitely be inspecting the bones and the clothing.
Would you be going to the most proximate pile of bones?
Yes, I would ask Yalomlo to do it though.
To touch the bones?
Yeah.
Cool. That, Sarah and DJ, what would you two like to be doing?
I'm just gonna keep an eye out for anything that moves
Okay.
where it's not supposed to. So anything that's not my companions.
Would you like to 15-foot ceilings in the areas in which you guys are? The majority of the ceiling is pretty well illuminated. Would you like to keep an eye on the bones? The hallway that looks like it opens up on the south side? Or would you like to try to keep an eye out in this direction? Or would you like to look at the piles of bones to ensure that the piles of bones don't move?
If I stand at the entrance to the room, can I kind of like,
Here-ish?
yeah.
Get a view there, get a view there,
Yeah.
and be in the area of the bones? Yes. Yeah. We'll put you...
Like a little triangle towards that like hallway area. Kind of catch as much of the room
Yeah,
in my peripherals
get like
as I can.
Okay, hallway here, corner like curbing there. Bones are all around me. Sure.
As
DJ.
everyone else picks through.
What would you?
I'd probably just stick with Felix.
So you would be following him as he's going through the paintings.
Yep.
Okay.
More your caramels.
And I
You
would
gave
just
him a
be
treat.
looking at, you know,
And
the
that's what I'm
paintings as he is.
Yeah. Cool.
An Ezzy snack.
Okay. You guys walk, see the first painting. You step in, keep an eye on the other things. You equate and try to evaluate the positionings and experiencing of these piles of human beings. You guys step towards the most proximate pile in which there is a dark black cloak, a broken, obviously splintered flagon. You're asking Yalomlo to do what with the bones?
Could you sift through them, separate them into individual bones?
I've not had to do this before. What?
I understand. Just kind of line them up so I can see if it is a full skeleton.
You need to see if it's an entire skeleton.
Yes.
It's something you do every time.
No, but these are the first skulls we have found. And I'm curious as to why. The music has also changed, and
It does feel different in
Yes.
this.
Maybe we shouldn't.
The music is...
Did you guys hear that?
Ball.
Have we seen any movement at all in this room other than us coming in?
No. And you guys are pretty much canvassing the area with bright light because
Sure.
you have it with your lantern.
I have it on my shield.
You have it on your shield,
He has
and
an
you
actual
have an
torch.
actual physical torch lit. So I would say, since you two are together in this like corner, you've got a decent chunking of bright light here, a little bit of dim coming out. You guys went to the most proximate pile of bones, which would be pretty close to Ritor, maybe about 5 feet away.
Yep.
And you guys would have a decent amount of bright and then dim out. So I mean, it would be this hallway and this separation, because this room is pretty sizable.
Sure.
These would be the areas that would look like beyond dim light into darkness. But no movement from anything inside of the surroundings in bright or dim light.
Outside of being a room full of skeletons,
Uh-huh.
is there anything off about the clothing, or does it just look like average, everyday
It would look mostly
dwarven
like...
clothing? Like somebody was dressed and
Correct.
standing
Yeah,
here.
between common and noble, like slightly finer clothing, yes, it would look like...
I, as a player, am inferring that if there's broken tankards on the floor and it looks like things were spilled, we were told that whatever happened was sudden.
Yes, happened in a flash.
It seems like this is a room that was full of people that were gathered having some sort of gathering, and
Flash.
whatever happened immediately, they dropped on the spot.
Yeah, that is a fair inference. Looks like common to slightly nicer than common piles of clothing.
Sure. Then I guess I'm gonna start trying to sort out some bones for my good friend Ethir.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Skull first.
sure. I will say that amidst the pile of bones, at the area where you would know to look close to the nape of the cloak, since it looks like it is a full human, well, dwarven skeleton, you would look by the cloak. You slightly tilt the cloak to the side, and you see a small, adult dwarven skull and pile of bones, like, the rib cage mostly still intact, the arms kind of splayed out at awkward angles. Yeah, like a delicious chest plate, Don. It's fine, do it again. It's not apes that are going to kill you this time, buddy. Yeah, so you would see that it would look mostly like a full... Hard to tell, because I don't know if Yalimlo's ever fully investigated an entirety of a skeleton. It would look like a fuckload of bones.
He's asked me to sort bones.
Yes.
As respectfully as possible. I know that he's a man who's doing a good thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And he's asked me to sort them.
Yeah.
So, carefully.
Yes.
Not like
as you're removing the cloak and
Neanderthal.
shuffling the clothing to the side,
so sorry.
you as the bone man would think that this looks like an entire skeleton.
Okay.
You would also see the skull.
I'll stop him, and I'm going to pick up the skull and inspect it.
Sure. Yeah, no, it would look like a modest size. You've experienced dwarves in the wild. Sounds weird. You have found dwarf corpses in the wild.
Also sounds
That
weird.
also sounds
That sounds
weird.
worse.
You found
You are
dwarf
familiar with dwarf
skeletons in the
corpses.
snow in the wild. This would look like an
Weird.
adult male or female skull. Hard to discern for you.
Sure.
The gender of the dwarf skull.
Sure. I'm going to look for any markings or dents on the skull or anything like that. Scratch marks. Or on any of the bones. Fractures.
Sure. I'll say that you give like a quick inspection. As the bone boy, I'll say that you're very good at this and you do not feel like you are pressed for time.
Cool.
You give it a quick over and nothing looks out of the ordinary. You could see that there might be like a small fracturing of like a rib or
Sure.
nothing that would look to you like it was either done post-mortem to the bones
Cool.
or giving you the impression that these are comparable to the skeletal structures of adventurers that you have found in the wild that would have drastically more impressionable injuries
Sure.
on the skeletal structure.
Okay, so these are people that didn't do a lot of work.
I mean, I don't want to say a lot of work.
Sure.
Not a lot of dangerous
Not a lot
fucking
of
fighting
sure,
work,
sure,
buddy.
sure. I just figured if it's like a minor, they're more likely to have like a broken arm or something.
Sure, yes. This would give you the impression that this is probably a business person.
Cool.
Somebody
Tell
who
if
had a...
they're evolutionarily different, having been here for hundreds of years.
Cool.
Yeah. Skeleton in your hands.
Yep.
Skull in your hands.
I'm just gonna like look into its eyes.
Yeah. You hold the skull aloft.
I would like to see what has happened here, but I am not sure now is the time.
I do not know that it would be safe with at least a follower around here somewhere,
Yes,
if not others.
yes.
I'm gonna telepathy over to my good friend Vorse.
I'm going to call Wars. Sure.
What's up?
I wish to possibly perform my ritual with this skull, so we might get some idea. But you may need to pull out your sword in order to see if Balor is about, or others are lurking.
Can I respond with yours?
I
For
don't
yours?
so.
It's been so long since I looked at Helmet
Let me
Telepathy.
look.
I feel like you can... They probably can communicate, actually.
Yes.
Okay.
You can respond to this message.
I'm
yeah,
not
you
blocked.
Yep.
Wherever my sword is, he will surely come. As for the others, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's plenty of them here. I just
Should I
probably wish for us not to see them.
should I just take the skull and try this later?
Yes, but considering the company, I would take time to rest assured if they're nearby that you are not stealing their skull or defiling their remains. They could be watching. We wouldn't want to give anyone the wrong impression of what you're doing.
I could bury the remainder of the bones.
On
Yeah.
the floor.
Stone.
I could take all of the bones.
I've got a big bag. You can take the skull, I'm just saying,
Yes, I understand.
perhaps announce.
Yes, the nature of not defiling a body and showing respect to it, of course.
Exactly. Would you want to take it and press on? Or would you want to return somewhere first?
I am not sure anywhere in here is safe, but if we could get some idea of what we are up against in here, or what happened, we might have some concept of how much danger we are in. I think in here would be best.
Do I remember roughly how long his rituals take?
Only a minute or so.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're not incredibly long. You know, it only takes him maybe a minute or so to prepare the brazier, get the skull in, get the herbs and the blood in.
Is there a possibility that the cloud thing might happen again?
It only happened the one time with Adrian, so probably not.
Okay.
Unless these were consumed by the same thing, then possibly.
I would be willing to permit it and stand guard for you.
Alright, perhaps in one of the shops after we leave this room.
My thoughts exactly. A small, closed room that we can keep an eye on where you are removed from prying eyes.
Yes. Alright,
I think it's a good choice.
alright.
disconnect.
Hmm?
Yeah, I'm gonna take this cloak and try to nicely wrap up this skull as respectfully as I can and
Sure.
put it in my bag.
Cool. Fantastic.
Uh-huh.
During that time, I will say that you are keeping an eye out. I will ask you to make a perception check. Cool. Yeah, I will tell you that you watch as Felix and Nesgrim, you know, out of the peripheral vision, are kind of like shuffling around looking at the various stages of fermentation, the collection of said materials necessary to make an ale. What were you doing? Feeding?
I'm also eating a candy as well.
Yeah,
From another
no,
one.
you guys are taking like a minute to like truly take in
I want to
the
flick one out.
process as best as you can, the natural, effectively chemical process of undergoing fermentation, experimentation with it. You guys get through like 2 to 3 oil paintings worth of grandiose projection of this looks like a pivotal moment for dwarven culture.
Okay, so it wouldn't give me any. I'm assuming it would be too general because it's celebratory to give me any actual information on the process. It's a general. I
Yes,
guess.
yeah.
Okay.
You would make the assumption that like they are obviously utilizing heating, cooling, different projections of how in the Olympus, like where it is a surface is or a substance is being heated, it is being projected out as like a foggy vapor and then cooled. You would see a dwarf at the other end with his hands concentrated around a longer, at the end of the long tube, more of a bulbous tip with cold, chilled hands of a continual frosted-looking light, cooling this tip with his own hands, just like at the edges of the glass. And you would see below it a consistent drip of a beautiful liquid.
So it's detailed enough.
Correct. Yeah, it's definitely detailed enough to give you the association of like, holy fuck, these guys really understood what they were doing, and they were experienced enough to undergo. It's fine, Don.
I don't think it is, John.
It's fine!
I don't think they were making ale!
I was just gonna say to Felix, you know, it seems as though all this talk about alchemy is for making ale.
The dwarves?
Of course they make it.
If they were to perfect anything, this would be the first thing.
I suppose. Do you think you may be able to write down a synopsis detailed enough to recreate this?
Probably not, dude. No.
No. I would have general steps.
Yes, he would understand there's heating and cooling involved. He does not understand the entirety of what is collective inside of the larger basin that is being heated to produce said vaporous effect.
Sure.
You wrap the skull. You, with the 19, see them continuing to move. There is no other movement. Everything in here feels very stationary. You still have the rancid odor of the areas in which alcohols have obviously spilled. Mm-hmm. I will tell you that as you are standing here amidst the piles of bones, you as an individual who is also experienced with nature, you would get kind of curious earthy aromas, and so would you, like, just kind of being in the presence. Earthy aromas from the areas of the concentrations of the bones. Not dirt. Comparable, not in quality of spices, but in the same aromatic of, like, leaves and soil.
Like decomposition, kind of?
Kind of. You went in the hole, correct?
Hmm?
The hole at the bottom of the tree for Rirda.
Yes.
You were in there. It would smell to you comparable of the same kind of earthy textures of the dirt inside.
I'd be standing about your general vicinity.
Correct. You guys would be pretty close to each other.
Yeah, as soon as that catches my nose, I would probably
it
start
takes a
making
moment
face
where, like, eventually you
and kinda
become
look
pretty
around.
nose blind to the experience of the rancid alcohols.
Of course, do you smell that?
Yes. Earthy reminds me of Rirda's tree. Are there any leaves in the bones? Are there any leaves in the bones?
You weren't the one who went through the bones. I'll tell you that you did not spot anything that looked like leaf or other plant life material, anything like that.
Just bones and clothes.
Is the floor damp with alcohol still?
Mm-hmm. That's why it's still present, effervescent.
Okay. So it hasn't soaked into the stone or anything, it's just there.
It is stone, the floor, right?
Correct.
Are there any areas where the floor may have broken from, like, the cave-in or anything?
I got a bad idea.
To the area over here,
Yeah.
it would look like there are slight indentations in the, like,
We need to
foot
get
or
out of
so
the
out
real
of this
quick.
area, yes.
Can I check that?
You want to walk over there?
I want to see if
Yep.
there's anywhere where the ground breaks through to perhaps earth underneath.
Is exposed
Yeah.
beneath the stone. Yeah. I'll tell you that is about a 35-ish foot walk away from you. So you would begin walking over in that
I'll
direction.
accompany you.
You accompany her. You two are still observing the paintings
Yep.
We would say we're about 3 paintings of the way through. You guys have collected the initial skull. I do not know what else you guys would like to do. That would have been all the simultaneous things that would have been occurring.
I would walk around and inspect the clothing, visually not touching it.
Of another set or 2
Yeah,
or 3.
I would just be moving around to
Sure.
look at all of them to determine if...
Sure. Again, there
Yeah.
are about 30 bodies
Sure.
inside of this large space.
Yeah, that's what Ethir's doing to try to take stock of like what types of people were here.
Sure. Okay. Absolutely. If you're inspecting the clothing, it would all have pretty consistent attire quality,
Okay.
attire type, and attire size, indicating to you that it looks like this is mostly adult dwarven people that were in here.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. Or that's good for you, I'll say, because that's going to take you
Yeah,
a moment or so to
absolutely.
do that. Would you stay with
I'm
him?
just sticking with him.
People looking at the paintings, people going over towards the area in which the wall has kind of caved in, correct?
When you say the like earthy smell, is that in from like in the hole in the ground before I like drew the symbol in the ground, or in that like space that we were in?
The earthiness before you drew the symbol in the ground.
Okay.
Where it just smelled not of like
Not that like smoky.
correct, not the smoky odor, not like brimstone and ash. This just smells like the soil that was in there was slightly like dampened, and it had an odor of like it's difficult to discern like an incredibly earthy quality to it.
Topsoil leaves.
Kind of, yes.
Kind of steel.
Yes.
Like wet leaves.
Like compost?
Sure, compost I think is also a good definitive way of like giving it a singular separational smell to traditional what you would be smelling.
It doesn't smell like rotten flesh, though, right?
It does not, no. So you guys would be approaching the area in which the wall has kind of caved in. You would see again the large rubble in the areas right where the stone has struck the ground. You can see that the stones in the precipice, in the area around it, have cracked and broken away, and there are small divots and indentations where you can in fact see that there is soil beneath. It does not remotely smell like the smell you're getting from the bodies.
So I guess it's not mountain dirt. So has to be something on the body.
I guess.
Or lack thereof?
You're not there.
No, shit, right.
You are overlooking a painting.
Right
from
with
the-
Felix. Right.
Is there like a pile of bones nearby that I can pick up one and examine?
Yes.
Smelly bones?
Can I look for like signs of like microorganisms or like some like fungus or anything that would have eaten away at the...
Okay.
I don't know if that's something...
I would say Rotora would understand worms and other small-scaled organisms that would be assisting in the decomposition of a body with flesh in natural areas, right? So when you go over and you go to a pile, what would in the pile you be looking at? Would you be looking at the bones? Would you be looking at the clothing?
I mean, can I kind of smell both and see if I can pinpoint where the smell is coming from?
You lift the cloak, separate it from the pile. You can see that there is the thin, cottony like cloth fabric of clothing and the like horsehair pants and things like that. As you hold aloft the cloak, it smells like it is inside of the cloak.
Force. I think it's the clothing.
Does it have any pockets?
Can
Waft it.
Waft it, lay it out, see if there's anything...
Yeah. You
Of
waft
note
it,
on it.
you get a strong hint of it just like rush into your face as you waft it. Yes, as you separate it out, you can see that there are definitively pockets, like breast pockets on the interior and pockets on the side of the cloak.
Digging in those pockets.
I would have stopped you before you reach with your hands. Get your grubby little fingers out of there.
You waft. I will ask you guys, because you said you're going to reach in the pockets, and you said you would like to stop her.
Yes.
I'm going to make you roll initiative checks
Okay.
against each other to see if you are quick enough to be able to stop her from doing this.
Flat 13.
12.
12. Yeah. I will say that you see her hand reach out towards one of these pockets, and you catch her right by the wrist.
Hold on a sec. There could be anything in those pockets. I don't want you to get cut or anything. Like, show the finger that I cut on the bottle earlier.
Sure.
Hello,
Paul. It's fine. We're just brewing ales.
Do they look stuffed?
You would see that there is...
Or there's just, it looks like there is something in there.
It would look like there is It would look like the pocket is shaped in a way in which if you were to ball up aluminum foil, it would have like an incongruent textured experience. It would look like that in the basing of the pockets on the sides.
I'm going to go ahead and remove one of my arrows. And use just the end of it to kind of...
Are you trying to slice the pocket?
No,
open?
just to kind of take out whatever's in the pocket with it instead of using my fingers, because I don't know if there's glass.
So
or
if
anything.
she's
I've been
holding
burned already.
If she's holding the cloak aloft, the pockets would be on the outside. You would use an arrowhead to reach in.
Yeah,
and
to
try
kind of
to
like scoop. Yeah.
Sure. You reach an arrowhead in, you scoop up. As it crests out of the pocket, you would see amidst a composite of soil, as you pull it out, you would smell immediately the acrid odor of sulfur inside of this compost. So like it would be a small clumping of dirt, and inside, strewn about, small areas of pockets of powdered sulfur. Thank you for taking a cloak, Don.
You what?
It's fine.
You did what?
You smell sulfur and you see powdered sulfur inside of, just at the little tip of the arrowhead that you have protruded and extended out.
I would not have experienced sulfur by itself, right?
I would say that it would be something that the shamans would have utilized in some of the medicinal qualities of attempting to make primitive medicines.
So even if I haven't seen it, I bet it's been around enough.
It's been around enough for you to be able to
yeah.
immediately equate the smell.
Okay.
Sarah, you would not.
What is it?
It's,
Color.
It's like a yellowish.
Did you say there's also soil in there?
Yes. A composite of, bitter, broken, rotten soil, comparable to what was inside the baskets. So it'd be very brittle and powdered sulfur.
seems as though it's soil and sulfur.
Are there any plants in it?
No. Looks like dead soil. I think they were packing the sulfur in the soil to keep it separated from something.
What does it do?
Not sure. The shamans would use it for medicines.
Was that one of the things that Felix mentioned from the book?
Sulfur?
Probably.
I don't remember.
No, it wasn't one of the three.
It was on the statue.
It was on the statue
Yeah.
outside
Statue.
as we were stepping in.
It was the two obsidian statues had the sulfur symbol on it. Would I have any inferences to, like, them putting dirt around it to keep it inert? So it's not A, exposed to the air, or B, exposed to the alcohol on the floor?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we now expose it to the alcohol on the floor and the air?
The air. Absolutely.
Oh, shit.
It's fine.
I'm gonna calmly put it back down into the pocket.
I really like these paintings, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Which one am I on?
We'll say that you're on a fifth painting in which below there is an obvious large jar, kind of like how we've got here, that is collecting the liquid as it condenses, congeals, and forms a little bit of a darker, like, if you were to look at, the wood that we've got here, it would be a very darkish brown, pooling in droplets into a jug. The jug itself would look like it was made of a fine silver. No, don't tell me that. Yeah, I will tell you that as you get through the fifth painting, as you get to the sixth painting, you would see another standing pair of dwarven men taking said silver jar, and one of them pulling it up to his lips as the other one is adjacent to him, his hands obviously together. Effectively a fit of applause. You would see that the Olympus would have been with the nozzle effectively turned and twisted, indicating like a stopper. You would see that there would be something protruding down like a metal fragment shard that would extend through the glass, stoppering said liquid. And the next painting on the getting pretty far down the wall now, you would be like in this general area, still within sight of everybody. You would see that the person that holds aloft the silver jar adjacent to him, around the edges of his lips and like twined with his beard, you would see a dark, almost like molasses looking sludge around the edges of his mouth. And he would just have a great big smile. I will ask you to make an investigation check.
All right.
It's reasonable to connect that to the tea that I drank.
In the same way that, like, at the bottom of the cup, there was definitely a different consistency than exclusively a liquid?
Sure.
Correct. What was it?
Dirty 20.
I will tell you that at the base of the painting, this is the first one in which there has been a placard. And at the bottom of the placard, kind of set into like a gold plating, you would see the first successful amalgamation by Sir Dorgrim.
What was that second to last word? Or third to last word?
Amalgamation.
There you go.
Sir Dorgrim?
Amalgamation.
Sir Dorgrim.
Felix?
So... I mean... What does the molasses look like? Does it look similar to our sludgy friend that we saw earlier? Because you're saying it has a molasses look, so it's thick and gelatin-like, right?
Correct.
So would it look similar to that?
Yes, the thing that was underneath the table?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Good.
Same compositional quality of the gelatinous down the edges of the meat.
Great.
It's fine, Doc.
It's fine. Totally fine.
I'm just gonna stop at this one and just kind of stare at it. Just what do these fucking idiots do?
Upon discovery of the sulfur in there, I would probably yell over to Felix. We found some more components.
What kind?
Sulfur. I believe they were keeping it in their pockets, surrounded by dirt to keep it from being exposed to anything.
Just dirt?
All of them?
From what I can smell, yes.
I'm gonna just take my cloak out,
Fuck!
take the skull out, toss the cloak.
Be careful with the...
Throw the cloak on the ground.
Toss. Not throw. Just release the cloak towards the floor.
Very weakly.
I have 5 strength. I can't do anything strongly. My movements are slow and labored like a frail old man.
I fear that if it was upset, the sulfur might become active.
I will tell you, Don, as you release the cloak, and it kind of flutters to the side, and it lays flat on the ground in front of you. You hear a faint, like poppers?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
firecracker?
Yeah.
You hear as it strikes the stone, and you see at the edges of the cloak, you see what looks like a flash and a sparking, and you hear a straight popping, like if you were to hit flint for a tinderbox for igniting. You hear a striking.
Beat Flint.
Don't throw it.
You don't see that.
Oh, I don't?
No.
Okay.
You do, and you hear that.
Do any of the rest of us hear anything?
Nope. You just see the cloak. Lay flat.
I think it activated.
What do you mean?
There was a popping sound.
There wasn't.
There was.
There wasn't Ethir.
No. I don't think there was.
Okay.
Look at the skull and make sure there's no dirt on it.
Yeah, no, it looks nice. Nice quality polished bone.
Polished?
No, not polished.
God.
I just wanted to see the panic. No, it looks nice. It doesn't look like it has an incredible state of decay
Okay.
or decrepitness about it.
Nice
All
skull.
right, I'm
They
gonna
got a nice skull.
Come through and buff it real quick.
gingerly place it into my sack.
Yeah.
Some of you words just can't be used.
I'm going to tell you that as you look into the skull, like look at the skull, and you look at the eyes, and you look at the sockets, and as you go to move it towards, you hear a familiar voice, kind of lightly echoing out like a whisper. Oh, Ethir, don't go. Putting it away.
I will peek into the eye socket to make sure there's no spiders in there, John.
I don't really care about your evil cripple.
Are you going to turn the skull so you can look into
Yes.
the cranial cavity?
I am.
Spiders.
Spiders. So many spiders.
You turn
He's got a gun.
and you look inside,
8
and
guns.
within you see, for the first time, in the absence of the Moon-Touch sword, a smaller version of Balor's face in the dark cavity of the skull, looking out at you with the same ethereal green hue, just a wisp and a smile. And he just looks at you as you turn the skull. Don't go.
I'm gonna quickly spin it to Yalum Low. Look! Is he there?
You turn the skull and you just see the interior cranial cavity of a skull.
Is he still in there?
Ooh. Ethir.
A tiny ball.
No.
Small lord.
There is not a tiny Balor in there.
He told me.
It's okay,
He
Ethir.
told me not to go.
I think Balor could probably go wherever he pleases.
Probably.
Put the skull in your bag.
Okay.
Juicy.
I need another sack, please. I don't want him to see my things.
Congratulations! You reduced him to Grindar!
I know.
I will put the skull in my bag.
Oh my god.
What? He's losing his mind!
Welcome back!
Yep.
He's losing
in. Ethir
Told him sulfur as the odor. I will permit Felix a history check for other elements of where sulfur might have been discussed in the book in areas that you might not yet have gone. Effectively, the analytical recognition of, like, you looked at the table of contents. We've looked at 2 pieces so far. Hopefully it's good.
Ah! Dirty 20 again.
Dirty 20, yeah. I would tell you...
Oh, wait a second, you said history? I'm so sorry.
That's
22.
22? I would tell you...
Still dirty, though.
Disgusting.
I would tell you that in relation to sulfur, you would want to look in principles of catalyst and reagent, but not under focus, symbol, and innate. As a catalyst or a reagent.
Hold on, gotta go back.
While you look, I'm going to pee.
No.
No!
Don't
But
trust
you
him.
said not under?
Correct, not in the subset A.
But not in the subset.
Correct. In chapter 2,
Oh,
but
okay.
not in the subset further into A.
I'm so tired.
Hmm?
I cannot keep my eyes open.
Feel that. I'm very sleepy.
Here, have a glazed hole.
My hole's been plenty glazed.
God damn it, that's
Why
like drank.
what?
As I drank.
Mods, can we please add that quote for DJ? My hole has... Sorry, no thanks. My hole has been plenty glazed. If we could just... Thank you, Mods. Jesus
It got me the
Christ.
second time around.
My God.
Yeah, but I woke up at like 1. I fell asleep on the couch last night while waiting for my bed sheets and stuff to get done in the dryer.
I hate that.
Which meant I woke up at 3 a.m. and had to make my bed.
Oh, no!
At that
I would
point,
have
you just
fucking
sleep
slept
on
on
the
it without
couch.
sheets.
Correction.
Yeah.
You didn't have to make your bed.
I didn't have to.
You
You're
could
right.
have just wrapped yourself in the warm sheets and blankets.
You're right. I could have.
I would have just laid a fucking towel down and slept on that.
So then-
Slept on the couch.
So then I woke up at
His blanket's already
9:30
in.
and had to go to the gym and all that shit after falling asleep at like 2, 3 a.m. It was great. Got like 5 or 6 hours of sleep last night. And then went to the gym like an asshole.
Like an asshole?
Uh-huh.
You're off.
Like a glazed hole.
Like a glazed asshole. I went to the gym.
No!
Oh, no!
We bridged the gap,
John, get back in here!
so to speak.
It's going off the rails.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Things are
Hot off the
happening!
presses!
I could have just slept in, but the issue is when you sleep in, everyone
I
else
heard
sleeps in
my
and goes to
name.
the gym when they wake up.
Please.
He's
What's
gone.
going on?
He's
Get
gone
the
from
hell-
glazed hole
he's talking
to
So
glazed
at about
asshole.
noon, it
Talking
gets
about what?
packed.
He's talking about his glazed hole.
Oh, very
No,
good.
it's glazed. You know what? Let's just. Where were we? Right. Principles. Paintings.
Ah, yes, glazed alchemy.
How many more paintings are there?
I would say that there would only be one more.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll give you that very swiftly before we hop over to the book,
Thank
if you
you,
want to
Vulpix.
look at that real quick.
Yes.
I would tell you that in the final image, you would see the man you would associate with Sir Dorgrim as a middle-aged dwarven man with a dark brown beard, long kind of scraggly, unkempt, like dark brown, blackish hair, and a like pale skin with like a slight blue discoloration in hue. All the frost dwarves in the paintings would have the same thing. So not to separate that, but to give all of the dwarves that would have been in all of these oil paintings a comparable visualization. You would see him standing there with the silver bottle, like the large silver jug in his hand, looking at it, like looking down at it, and in his hand would be over the mouth of the bottle a gold, like what would look like a light bulb shape that would be a cork to be able to stop our said bottle. So it would look like a golden knob that he would be affixing over the silver bottle. And no placard underneath it with a title or anything.
It's just him.
Yes.
Is his face still a mess?
Yes. It would still have like the same droplets. It would look almost like it's congealed around his face.
Okay.
Yep. Cool. And then hop over to the book.
Mm-hmm.
You let me know when you're ready.
Yep.
Metals and other precious substances, such as the powders produced from gems, can be used in calculations or equations to produce new materials or transmute what they once were.
Mm-hmm.
All of these materials start from the first material, the soul, the sulfur.
The soul, capital S.
The soul, capital S, comma, the sulfur, capital S. And then it would have the symbol that existed outside on the statue for the symbol of sulfur.
Mm-hmm.
This, with the mercury and the salt, comprise the three elements of a living creature and can be, through the various stages and processes of alchemical separation, can be reduced to their individual form. If these materials can be then composed into an object to manifest magical effects through it, is this the first source of a catalyst? Or are we still unsure the separation from catalyst to reagent? Are some souls able to be used? Are some elements able to suffice the needs of a person in their stead? Or must a person be reduced to these three things, removed of their vitality, to then be offered in the magical experimentation of another? At the heart of all of us, there is the one thing, and the O and the T would both be capitalized.
I'm sorry, can you say it again?
At the heart of each of us is the one thing. A trinity of these three that unite us, bind us, and grant us an immortality that we have not yet attained. No, there's more.
Oh, sure.
In the margin, once more, there would be a note that says, "Have we been so callous to ignore the simple answer that lay before us? The distillation of the most sacred essence, the oil that can be refined from man, if it is so taboo to try just once, if only to understand." And then it would trail off.
Should we read this out loud?
Probably not. Realistically, no, since I would think of it, just kind of flip through
Mm-hmm.
and just quickly read it to myself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. After that note in the margin, I would say there would be further down the page, there would be like a blank space where there would be once more another set of symbols, which I will give you because I'll have to draw them. Below the next set of a trinity of symbols, there would be an additional symbol, and then adjacent to that, it would say, in the margins once more as a note, a blank creation, an empty vessel, the possibility of transference to a new body with a capital B. If immortality is not attainable by one, is it then the transference of the one thing to a new one? And let me draw you the symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Sounds very legal and very cool.
Totally safe.
Totally legal.
Take your hood off and walk through the middle of the city, see what they bring you.
Tasty.
You already have sulfur. Sulfur would be one of the three.
Mm-hmm. I hope I have it. I should have it. Yeah.
You drew it, yeah.
So I'll go back.
If not, I think it's a triangle with a cross on it.
Symbol base of the pedestal.
Yeah, that's gonna be the one. I believe.
Well, we had two symbols that had a line through it. We had and that was for
Yeah,
like.
it's
That was the
triangle
elements.
and then T.
Yeah, it's got a cross under. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just give you sulfur again. But yes, you are correct.
So
The
y'all
elements
y'all
were
trying to be
the,
immortal or no? All right. It's a great time.
Yeah.
Did you read any of that? Like,
No, I would have just skimmed it.
You're on your way to being the next dwarf gravy
If you could
man.
just, without opening, provide that default.
I don't want to see.
I don't.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I like playing a character who's not super high intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All of this goes very much over my head.
none of my business.
I don't know anything.
That sounds like a whole lot of not my problem.
I do not know what you guys would be doing while Felix is very swiftly skimming through his book.
I'd be looking over his shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll tell you that like the
Just
things that are on the page, I will ask you to make an intelligence check to glean any sense of magical understanding from
Are
this.
they dwarvish?
Yeah, I mean they're in Dwarvish anyway. I don't think you speak Dwarvish, so like it would look like symbols and runes on pages. Mm-hmm.
I'm not even gonna roll to identify anything because
Yep.
I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, like the symbols would be the closest thing that you would recollect, possibly sulfur
Sure.
as the thing outside.
I would probably be ushering me and Ritora back up with the group to kind of reconvene.
Mm-hmm.
with the cloak so I can show them the
Hide
sulfur in the pocket.
I'd be scrambling around picking up the skulls and checking for Baller. I'm not taking them. I'm checking for Baller and then
Gotta
putting them
go.
back.
Oh, you wanna grab another skull and look?
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I can't
no.
carry all of them. I'll die.
Yep. Yeah. No. You sporadically move to another pile of bones. You would have to move aside the cloak.
Yeah, I just gently brush it aside and.
Move aside a cloak and pick up another skull, and you turn it and look inside. I'll say that you don't see anything.
Great.
Would you want to go to another one?
I would.
Okay. You place the skull down, and as you turn the skull and put it back down, when you put it back onto the place, you feel it rumble in your hands. And you turn and you pick up the skull once more, and you see not Balor inside the skull. You see just like what would look as though a descending pit of black smoke.
Oh, God.
You would get a strange odor of brimstone and ash.
I'm gonna stare at it.
Yeah, it looks like it is a space in which you would be able to reach into.
Nope. I did that the last time and my brain's been fried.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm
You
gonna just
look at it.
like wave to y'all and low.
Do you see it?
You shouldn't encourage
Do
him.
you see it?
You shouldn't encourage him.
I do not know what is real and what is not.
Those are skulls. There is nothing in them.
There is a pit.
There is not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just see the interior cranial cavity of a skull.
There's nothing in the
A
skulls.
deep sulfurous void.
No. Put the skull down. Come back over here. Just leave the skulls alone.
I'm gonna back towards y'all and low, but I'm gonna keep my eyes on it.
Yeah, as you look at the skull, it looks as though the descending jaw, like, rattles in your direction. And you hear once more the familiar voice of Balor. Come home.
No, thank you.
Damn it!
No, thank you. I have a home.
You hear him say that aloud.
You shouldn't talk to the skull either.
What?
There's nothing in the skull.
Balor is in the skull.
Balor is not like you. You are here.
Yes.
Balor
I
is
don't want to
something
go.
else.
I don't want to go to his home.
No. I don't think it's the skull. In fact, if anywhere was his home, it's probably here.
Okay.
Just don't play his games.
Okay.
Just gonna sit on the ground.
Is he okay?
No.
Here.
Saw a tiny Balor in one of the skulls.
Has there ever been anything in the skull that
Oh
you looked in?
my.
What?
You sit down, you say?
Yes.
Yeah. You watch as Ethir just kind of slowly lowers himself and sits on the ground.
Realize the ground is wet, right?
You feel just the edges of your hands around your thighs and calves slowly grow damp.
Yeah, I'll try to stand up.
Yeah, you stand back up. You get the slightly acrid odor of alcohol on your good friend Ethir.
Please do not light me aflame.
Why would we?
We wouldn't.
I'm gonna close the book.
Yep.
Look at Ethir as he gets up, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
How, a scale of 1 to amalgamation. How's it looking?
How wet is he?
Well, what does it look like, the liquid that he sat in?
The liquid, it looks like it is mostly dried up against the stone. It looks like it still has a thin, because it's a light-colored stone and it would have been a dark-colored liquid. It would be, the stone looks like it is darkened. It would look comparable to if you were to drop like a clear alcohol, like a rubbing alcohol or a vodka, and the stone itself would have a slight discoloration.
Okay.
But the alcohol itself that would be still thin here would be clear.
Starting near my feet.
Yeah.
Let me get down and
Come on,
Can I-
get down.
pick any up with my finger.
I would say you'd be able to get like a small staining of it on your finger in the areas in which there are the natural grooves between the stones and the flooring.
Okay. And kind of, I can smell it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you pass it by your nose, it smells like a very clean, like vodka-esque grain alcohol.
I'll taste it.
Yeah, no, it would taste like that as well.
Okay.
Pretty bad.
Right.
Because of it's obviously been stored out naturally. So like not remotely good.
Basement floor aged. It's
But
fine.
it's like a very thin, clear layer.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Very minimal amounts, like traces, but you're able to find a small pocket where there is some. Don, please make for me an investigation check.
It's natural one.
You see and feel the intense agony of your lower body bursting into flames. Black, shadowy flames that extend out from your body and writhe up and wreathe around your waist. And you do not see your lower half. The world below your waist appears dark and vacant amidst these shadowy flames.
I'm gonna start slapping my legs to try to put the flame out.
You guys watch as Ethir, standing here, begins slapping at his legs.
Ethir, what are you doing?
Fire!
You're not on fire.
I am on fire.
Amidst the dark flames, right around your knees in height, extending out from the darkness, you see hands. Ethereal green hands reach up towards your throat. We will end there.
Oh God!
Woo!
Good luck. Yeah, thanks.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, yeah, indeed. Well,
I just want to find my stuff. And go home.
I just want to go home.
I haven't even looked at my hand.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
It's right like on
Well-
my arm, I'm sure.
It'll be fine.
thanks everybody for watching tonight. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you're new here, make sure you follow so you can find us again. We appreciate the subs and gifted sub and the donation tonight as well. Thank you very much. We'll be live next on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the Lost Kings of Edoras. We will not be live on Sunday for Orviga because it's Easter, so we'll be off. So then after that, we'll be back next Tuesday to find out if I'm dead. Or where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you or Ethir?
Come home.
Both.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching tonight, and we will see you on Friday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good
Bye,
night.
friends.
He's gonna die.